Well, I don't think that James Bond clip would have been directed by a woman director. This is all men. Men writer of the book, men director, men producers, at least in those days. Although I think the guy's Broccoli, the guy who produced the original films, I think it's Albert Broccoli. I think his daughter's doing it now, but okay. So just some quotes about film. The book is a film that takes place in the mind of the reader. That's why we go to the movies and say, oh, the book is better. Paulo Coelho is a famous author. Look for his books. He's got some interesting ones, very popular, interesting books that you guys might like. This is, I couldn't find the name of the person who said this, but I like the quote. We love films because they make us, obviously a typo, feel something. They speak to our desires, which are never small. They allow us to escape, and to dream, and to gaze into the eyes that are impossibly beautiful and huge. They fill us with longing, but also they tell us to remember. They remind us of life. This is Tim Burton. Some of you may know him. Influential director of Beetlejuice, the first modern Batman film starring Michael Keaton, who also starred in Beetlejuice. Very involved in one of my favorite animated films, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Anyway, certain things leave you in your life and certain things stay with you, and that's why we're all interested in movies. Those ones that make you feel, you still think about, because it gave you such an emotional response. It's actually part of your emotional makeup in a way. Movies move us. Audrey Hepburn, famous actress in the late 40s, 50s, and 60s, a star, celebrity. Everything I learned from the movies. Okay, a couple of quotes about how we watch movies, what it does to our brains. This person's saying sensory processing, comprehension of the plot. Viewers' eye movements closely resembled one another's when watching movies. Low-level processing. Okay. And from Psychology Today, it sort of analyzed what effects watching a film have. In order to control a viewer's responses, you have to construct the film sequence of images, right? We're not responding just to a particular image on the screen. We're responding to a sequence of images, a story. Movies are, to this person's mind, the greatest method of telling a story since language itself. The way the images are sequenced tell a story. So with movies, it's like with all the other mass communications media, we want to apply our media literacy and not just emulate and want to do everything we see in movies. We want to try to think a little bit more before we get carried away, right? Okay. And finally, in terms of what it is, art versus commerce. This is from our textbook. This movies hold a special place. Movie audience is increasingly diverse. Studios seem to be aiming mostly for young people, obviously because they want to maintain their franchise. If they don't get the young people, they're never going to survive, particularly the theaters. Okay, what becomes a film as an important medium is dependent on the audience. The industry continues to produce films that make history, art, and a statement while they make money. So I would argue that these films are mostly to make money, to blockbusters. You can name your blockbuster, but Marvel Comics has had so many Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and all these folks, the Hulk that we see up here, Spider-Man, and there are other blockbusters, but these are real money-making blockbusters. On the other hand, we have the art film, which is someone with a small budget. The blockbuster can cost hundreds of millions to make, hundreds of millions to advertise and market, and can make in the billions in terms of box office. Plus, you have merchandise sales and other things going on. Product placement can give them money. Then you have the opposite side of the coin, which is the art film, smaller budget, not a lot of special effects, mostly about relationships, sensitive. Here the artist really has something to say. And here you have something in the middle of the two in a way. This is the film Citizen Kane, which was made as a work of art, which has also been pretty successful commercially. We've looked at William Randolph Hearst. We've talked about the Hearst Corporation in a couple of these lectures. And Orson Welles, at the age of 25, after making the radio play War of the Worlds and getting some headlines for scaring a lot of people, and directing plays on Broadway like Julius Caesar, goes to Hollywood, and the first film he makes, he produces, directs, he stars in Citizen Kane. It came out in 1941. It is based on the life of William Randolph Hearst, who tries to stop it and is unable to. That's an art film that also had an impact on society. And here are the best films of the year from the Oscars for a number of years. And what you'll see here is many times a combination of artistic success and a statement with a good box office. Titanic, I think we could say, was an artistically satisfying film. A very expensive film to make, a lot of special effects. James Cameron, the director and writer, I believe, also made a ton of money. Some others here, not so much money, maybe. But, it varies. But many times there's a meeting in the middle between making money and it's hard to make a lot of films if they don't make any money, ultimately. And they are expensive. Okay, so we have a lot of people trying for art, but still trying to make it commercially successful. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and then we'll pick up with development. So we talked about what is film, looked at a lot of issues, and on we'll go.